cars into the 258s in this race, and that's astonishing, David, because before, when they raced here, they didn't have the Celtex Chase to worry about. They didn't have to worry about that sweeping turn and that left-hand third-gear corner.
With a little more than 2 laps gone in this event, look at the top 5 for UK at Southall. Jason Cutts, Jordan Ormsby, then Gary Ogden, and the lady Tammy Douglas running 5th on the racetrack. Still plenty of racing left in this. 3rd and 4th on the circuit. Driver of 61 currently 3rd on the racetrack, Jordan Ormsby. And he was unable to stay with the leaders, Cutts and Southall, after being very competitive in the opening lap and a half.
Yeah, he was right there in the battle. He seems to have dropped away a little bit. This car of Ormsby's is one of the NG-type cars, which I spoke about a moment ago. And Ogden's car is based on the Mako design, which was built by Frank Kleining back in the 70s. So that's an even older design. But it's the strength of the class, David, that you're able to update your car and keep it competitive without spending a lot of money.
On lap 4 of 5. And still this fascinating scrap up front with Cutts a narrow leader. And the battle for 3rd and 4th is every bit as good. Ogden now has the best of that battle for the minor placings. You just become used to seeing so many changes of the lead in this class of racing, don't you?
Well, if I didn't know better, if these two guys weren't battling for the championship in the Super Series, I would say they're working together. They've played the toes very, very well to get away from that battle for 3rd and 4th, as Ogden is in 3rd now ahead of Ormsby. But the two leaders have been very, very canny, using the first 3 laps to their advantage, and now they can settle down and probably have their own battle for the checkered flag.
Ogden running a vastly different looking body silhouette to the other drivers featuring in this race up front.
Very narrow car. Ladder chassis on that car, Neil Turner?
That's probably an original Mako chassis from Kleining. It's always been a pretty good chassis, though, with its shape. The NG Elfin, I guess, is showing its age a bit these days. Elfin have just brought out a new Crusader, and there's a few of them running around. But the Mako's still got the best of the two.
Well, the National Championship Super Series up for grabs here. Southall and Cutts locked in a tight battle for championship honours, and we're going to see them commence the final lap of this event fairly soon, and I reckon we can expect fireworks in that last lap.
It's all going to come down to the chase, I think. 210 kilometres an hour on turn-in for a Formula V. That's not bad for a 1200cc air-cooled engine, which was designed before the Second World War and probably produced 36 or 40 horsepower in its original days, and now is up in the 50s and 60s. So
Cutts and Southall to embark on their final lap of fury. Southall, a narrow race leader. The gap was 0.47 last time they raced across the start-finish line. Now it's 0.13. Nothing to choose between these two. Cutts didn't get it exactly right there through Hell Corner and has lost some ground. An unhappy driver looking after, or watching over his car anyway.
Yeah, Gary Griffiths in the Elfin Crusader. Unfortunately, he's backed it into the dipper, but not a lot of expense required to repair the car. And now the leaders settle down on Mountain Straight, but we've got this great battle going on behind them as Ormsby and the car of Ogden are side by side on the last run through the right-hander.
And it's been that way for the last 3 laps. Ormsby was challenging for the lead early in proceedings, but not quite able to match it for outright speed with Southall and Cutts up front. We'll show you a replay in a moment of that incident involving Griffith, and here it is now.
Oh, the dipper, rear end first, inside wall, and once he made contact with that concrete, he was a passenger. But a corner on these cars, not terribly expensive. There are worse things to happen. A Formula Ford, for instance, David, would be thousands of dollars to fix.
Quite right. You're able to go Formula V racing for around $10,000. That'll buy you a reasonably competitive car. If you want the best of the best, I guess you're up around the $20,000 to $25,000 mark these days. Ormsby and Ogden still involved in a great scrap for 3rd and 4th on the circuit. Car is pulled off at the start-finish line. Will take no further part.
Looks like Hart Mason, unfortunately, not taking the last lap of this race.
So Cuts is the leader. About half a lap of this 6.2 kilometre Mount Panorama circuit to run. National Pride on the line here.
And Southall, you would have to say, Neil, is in the perfect position for the toe down the chute on the last lap.
He certainly is that, and I think you're right, Phil. The chase is going to be the bet.
Body parts flying off the leader's car.
Jason's car has come off.
And Southall had to take evasive action that could have cost him the national title.
I think you're right.
We'll see the last run through the chase. Southall takes over the lead. Of course, you'd expect that Cuts' car might be a little slower in a straight line without the rear bodywork.
Goodness me. Incredible finish to this event. Southall is your leader. Now up on the inside is Ogden having a go as well. Terrific racing from the Formula V boys.
I don't know what's happened there to Cuts' rear end, but he's still having a go at the outside. We've got Southall covering the middle and Ogden trying to go with them.
Coming up to the last corner now. Will it be Southall? Cuts is very close across the line. Doesn't get much closer than that, does it? And Ogden came from the clouds too. So Southall delighted with that. That was quite an unbelievable sight with the body blowing off the car, wasn't it?
Well, he wasn't close to the car in front of him, well, behind him, and there didn't seem to be any flapping bodywork, and that's put him offline, and of course it's allowed Ogden to get the toe and get onto the back of the two Jaces. So I've never seen anything like that before on the last lap of an open wheeler race.
So Southall delighted with that. Excellent Formula V event. Cade Southall emerging the victor in that Formula V support race. Jason Cuts home in second. A memorable event for him. Gary Ogden was third, then Jordan Orsby and Jared McConkey stormed home to finish fifth.